Okay, so what we really have to learn is like this concept, and then when we learn this concept, we can come up with our own chords, our own inversions. Like we just really make some really cool discoveries. So here's how the chord, here's how the concept works. You take a chord shape. It can be one however simple or interesting, dull. Like it could be one that you've known for a million years, and you think you're sick of playing it, and you could take that chord and you discover chords that you've never played with this concept. You could just take a chord shape that you've never played and start there too. So it doesn't really matter. Let's see. I wrote out a few examples. Whoops. Where's a really simple one to start with? Okay. So C major 7. So this chord shape is one you've done for a long time, right? Okay. So now I'm going to recommend writing something down. You got something to write with? All right. Go ahead and tab that chord out. Just vertically, so it's doesn't take up much space. Right? Yeah. 3 3 5 4 5. All right. Now, over that, go ahead and write, C major 7, just because you're going to create like a catalog, basically. So now underneath that chord, right, you've got on the tab, you have the low note to the high note, right? Low, higher, higher, and the highest, right? The lowest note on your tab is the lowest note in the chord, the 3rd fret. So it reads like this: 3 5 4 5, like that. Is that right? All right, cool. So underneath the chord, you've got the chord written on the tab here. Underneath it, write the intervals and write them in the same way. The lowest note would be the lowest interval, which is a root, right? So you'd be stacking them upward, just the way the chord is. The chord, you've got the 3rd fret, 5th fret, 4th fret, 5th fret. So when you write the intervals, you'll write the root, the 5th, the 7th, and the 3rd, because that's the order of our intervals. This low note, 3rd fret is the root of the chord, and then the 5th, and then the 7th, and then the 3rd. All right, cool. So now here's the system. This is like just one chord that we've got here. Could have done it with any chord. What we're going to do is we're going to take each of the notes of that chord, the intervals that we've played, the root, the 5th, the 7th, and the 3rd, and we're going to move them up, how should I say this, to the next one in line. Like, that does not make sense. I'll try to put it more clearly. I'm just going to give you the exact example and how maybe you can tell me in a clear way. Basically, your root is the low note. That's going to move up to the 3rd. The next note you had was the 5th. That's going to go up to the 7th. The note after that you had was the 7th. That's got to go up to the root. And the note above that is going to be the 3rd right now, so it's going to go up to the 5th. Each note in the chord is going to go up to the next note within the chord, within your voicing technically, because you could do this with scale tones too. But we're just doing it with chord tones with this chord. Okay, so each one of the notes of that chord is going to go up to the next note within that chord, already within the chord. All right, so here's our root. It's got to go up to the 3rd. Now we're going to stay on the same string. That's really important. I didn't mention that. We're going to stay on the same string with all of them. So this root has to go up to the 3rd of the chord. Okay? The 5th has to go up to the 7th. Right? And in my mind, I'm seeing here's my that's how I found it. I just saw the major 7 chord starting from the root here. Anyway, so we have the 5th going up to the 7th. The 3rd sorry, the 7th on our G string is going to go up to the root. So that's going to go up 1 fret. Cool. And our 3rd of the chord, that one, is going to go up to the 5th. So now, however you need to, if you can put it all together now and just play it, that'd be cool, but that might be a lot to ask. So the thing is just to go through that process again and tab it out. So like, you got your root from the 3rd fret is now going to be the 7th on the same string. So then you put that, 7. And what we're going to do is, like, you got your chord written here. So in your next chord, you write it to your right, because you're writing left to right. But, so you got your chord, and then the chord, and then the chord, and the chord. We're going to have 4 chords, because there's 4 notes in our original chord. And we're basically just inverting them all, moving them all up. So it's going to be the same. Just write it right next to the last one that you wrote down, this one. Except now you're going to write it, with new numbers. So it's going to be 7, 9, 5, and then 8.